Hello, Base family. Hey, we're launching a new series, and it comes from common questions I get about which method books or which videos, what resources would help them get to a certain point in their playing or get them past maybe a plateau. So, as I've said many, many times before, as long as I've been playing bass, I've collected bass method books. I have a lot of them, and some are great, and some are okay, and some I probably wouldn't recommend. I don't like to be any negative, so I'm not going to talk about the ones I don't recommend. Every video you see will be ones I find are important, and I'm going to cover this a little differently. I'm going to go through kind of the journalistic who, what, when, where, why, all those things. And you're going to see me referring to notes because actually I really put a lot of thought into this, and I want to make sure that I'm covering each book and giving it its fair due. So the first book we're doing is The Modern, let me see if I can get that cleaner. There you go. The Modern Reading Text in 4/4 by Louis Belson, written in collaboration with Gil Brines. This book is, boy, it's been around for a long time. I'm going to see if it even shows the original copyright date. I don't see it. But let's see. I started playing in 1984, and this book was in the shelf of the music store that I was working at. Initially, drummers would get this book, but that's unfair because it's actually for any instrument that where you want to work on your reading. So let's go through a little bit and talk about, first of all, what is it? It's the Modern Reading Text in 4/4, as I said before. It's basically, let's take a look through the video right now. You can see that it's just random notes, or not random notes, random rhythms at times off of a simple tonic. So you don't have to worry about which pitch you're playing. You can focus on the notes. Now let's go to the who. Who would need this book, or who could benefit this book? Players of all levels wanting to improve their sight reading or reading capabilities. And the reason I say all levels is this book gets pretty tricky. There's a lot of crazy syncopations. And even on the initial pages, if you think you're a pretty good reader, and I would challenge you to take like page 1, or the first exercise, I didn't say page 1, but the first exercise, and try doing it at 200 beats per minute. Sometimes speed helps us understand maybe where we're not as strong on something as we used to be. This was a book that I would carry around, and one of my teachers, Jim Lacefield at Musicians Institute, we noticed, my fellow classmates and I noticed that he would always have like sheet music rolled up, sometimes stuck in his back pocket. And if he was ever in line at the cafeteria or something, he would pull it out and he would just practice reading rhythms. And that's really great. And especially if you are struggling in your reading, this is a focus on just rhythm, and that can really help you out. So the how. Well, what they do in the book is from the very beginning, they start with very simple quarter notes. So it really assumes you know nothing about reading. And the how is he'll give you several pages of like random rhythms. So it's something you can't really memorize easily. And then there's always a review, like reviewing the page. And then the next chapter adds in a new rhythm element, let's say eighth notes, but always in a pair. And now you've got quarter notes and eighth notes, and you do that process. So it's additive. And I have never felt it's too big of a jump. Now, if you were to try to read page 1 and then read the last page in the book, that'll be too much of a technical jump. But if you go page by page, don't try to go too fast, and really focus, that's how this book will help your rhythmic reading. The why. Why would you want to buy this book? My recommendation can't be enough. So what's the details? This is really, sometimes when someone's struggling with reading, they just say, oh, I'm bad at sight reading. I can't sight read music. But that's probably unfair. They probably are good at one element, like rhythmic reading. They're good at one element, like maybe melodic reading. So this is good. And the why is that it isolates just one element and allows you to get really great at that. Now, let's say you're okay with rhythm, but you definitely struggle with melodic reading. Still, this book applies because by working through this book, you'll actually get where you're almost reading rhythms instinctually. You're not counting the whole from 1, 2, and 3, and to 4. That won't exist because you're going to see the symbol and know how it sounds. That's only possible by going through this over and over again. So when should a bass player get this book? This is one of those rare books where it at any time. If you're new to the bass, brand new to the bass, and you know reading is something you want to work on, and I hope it is, because even if you're not planning on being professional or a studio player, it just makes more resources available. You understand music better if you can read. But let's say you're an advanced player. You've been playing for many, many years. You can read somewhat, but you're not as fast reading as you want to be. This book will work. This will help you. Now, buying the book, putting it on the shelf, not going to help you. Buying the book, leaving it on your music stand, going through it every day, this will help you. And gosh, like all the pro players that I know that are, have put reading as a priority, they will tell you the same thing. This book is gold. So the where. Where can you buy this book? Luckily, it's widely available. Chances are, if your local music store like rents band instruments to high school students and grade school students, then they'll probably have this book, or they can order it. It's widely available. If you don't have a store near you, of course, you can go online. I found it on various online retailers. I mean, it's that popular. But once again, don't think, hey, that's a drummer's book. It's not. In fact, it doesn't say anything about it. Now, if you love this book, there's also one, Reading in Odd Meter, that's the same process. That if you're good at this, like you got this nailed, but you're really, you want to play some more progressive music, and you're a little bit weak on reading odd time signatures, definitely I recommend that. I'll probably do a video on it in the future. So Modern Reading Text in 4/4 by the great Louis Bellson. It's genius. I gave you all the steps of the who, what, when, where, why, all that stuff. It's up to you. There's no pressure. If this is something you want to work on, then reading is in your future, especially, and I really underline this 1,000 times, if you're going to go to a music school after high school. Get it, and work through it. The more you can come into the school with some of this foundational knowledge under your fingertips, the more enjoyment you'll have in class, and the more you can learn. It's a gateway. So all the books I'm going to do are 5 out of 5 stars. They're the best. I mean, they're the ones that I go to, so I don't need to give too much of a ranking, but I hope you give it a shot. What do you think? In the comments below. Now, I'm going to ask a little different question here. If you are a bass player and you know this book, you've practiced this book, please share your experiences with it, good or bad, but share your experiences with it so that we can give the most balanced presentation to a student looking to consider getting the book. Let them know how it worked for you. Hey, my brothers and sisters in bass, really love this time together. It makes this whole quarantine thing so much easier. And just being part of this family and feeling you guys from all around the world and getting your comments and stuff makes me feel great. So I appreciate you so much. I thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you at the next video.